I couldn't continue.
Yesterday about athletes receiving threats via email. Wondered whether
we, needless to say, have a huge amount of safeguards in place, both ourselves, our partners, and obviously Paris 2024. I obviously wouldn't go into what those were, even if I could explain what they were, which I can't, but I can tell you that we have been assured by our people and by our partners and by Paris 24 that we are very, very prepared. You can never be too prepared, but I think we had a pretty close call in Pyeongchang, so we have experience, we know what we're looking for, and I think as far as we can have every confidence that we know how to deal with it.
Cause a sort of fairly significant impact on the IOC in 2024 systems.
As far as my understanding is, the 2 attacks I think I've heard about, or 2, were not related to the games, as far as we know. So it wasn't discussed. In terms of security, I think you need to ask the security forces. We have every confidence in what they're doing. They gave a very impressive presentation this morning. Again, as with cyber attacks, I won't go into the details, but we have every confidence, and I think that confidence grew from a very impressive presentation this morning. But as for those 2 attacks, which, as I say, I don't think there's any evidence at all that they were games related, but they weren't touched on this morning.
Whether you have watched the opening ceremony rehearsal, and what is your comment on this opening ceremony?
And threats happen to athletes on a regular basis. We do understand, obviously, the Israeli athletes are receiving more. There are a number of safeguarding practices that we put in place straight away, together with the NOC, to make sure that those are dealt with. But it is a common occurrence, and in some delegations, obviously, it's more than others.
From my information, is the Chief Technology Officer was alerted to this very, very early on and managed to secure
Obviously, we would like to see a doping-free games. We're working very, very hard with that. That's why we set up the ITA to do some independent testing. Something like 80,000 tests between March and June on athletes. If you think that's a huge number of tests by the ITA. So, I mean, I think, I think everyone is entitled to be rehabilitated if they've served their time.
Sur Paris, il y a eu quelques attaques récemment, des attaques individuelles. Est-ce que vous en avez parlé ce matin?
We have our own safeguarding as well. I believe the offence was 10 years ago, which is not to excuse it in any way whatsoever, but there is some pretty heavy-duty safeguarding going on. I also believe that the athlete is not staying in the village. But I think to get more detail, you should contact the Dutch NOC on that one.